In the studio we have Guus de Mol, and he is the president of the management board of the Rhine Alpine Corridor. Guus, welcome.
Hello, Miley.
And yes, we heard in the video that this is good for our future, but what is this future?
Well, this future at least makes it possible to run longer trains with a more heavy load through, let's say, north-south, because at this moment or till December, when the Ceneri Tunnel is fully in operation, trains have to climb high hills. It's the same as with your car. If you climb a hill, you're limited in speed and in the tonnage you can take. And this will be taken out. So it makes it cheaper, easier and faster to cross Switzerland.
Yeah. And there was also a number mentioned in the video. It said 100% growth. Now, it didn't say when and where, but 100% looks like quite a lot. Is that something realistic?
From the Swiss point of view, it's very realistic because they have a strict policy in making it for trucks not attractive to cross the country. So there's a part of this growth which will be done by trains which come from Germany running to Italy, but also a part will be done by trains which just cross Switzerland with trailers on trains.
Yes, so it's not just the tunnel that is going to constitute this growth.
No, the Swiss upgraded from Basel to the Italian borders.
Yeah.
And it's even good to know that the Italians also the Swiss paid a lot to the Italian government to upgrade the rail lines south of Switzerland.
Okay. And which other measures are in place that are all related to encourage the shift to rail?
Well, there is a slow, and I think in the eyes of shippers and railway undertakings, too slow development that the line is upgraded from Rotterdam to Milano area. We as Dutch people can be quite proud because the Beta route already opened over 10 years ago. That's a masterpiece of this. The Swiss are now finishing, although they will still work on the Lotsberg tunnel to also make capacity higher there the upcoming years. But at this moment, the big waiting is on the missing links in Germany. And the Germans face a lot of, problems to get things ready. The willingness is there. You see it on the construction of the third track. That they are working on it, but they find a lot of problems in process. Let's say the process to get the permits. And that's for the third track, as we Dutch people know. But it's the same as in the south, between Mannheim and Basel. There are also problems. So this is also why the Swiss government now switches to put pressure on the French government to make also the route on the other side of the Rhine available to run easily to Switzerland and Italy.
Yeah, what kind of problems are they facing between Mannheim and Basel?
Well, it's a double track, so okay. One line up, one line down, and it will be upgraded to 4 tracks.
Okay. So when you look at this, it's all like kind of pieces to a puzzle. And yet they call this the missing link, and now there should be a seamless connection. But then if I hear you like that, that's not entirely true.
In Switzerland is seamless.
Okay.
And we have to adjust the outside world. Only what I have seen in international cooperation, looking at your neighbors and waiting till they are finished, then you start, then it will never end. So it will always be a jigsaw where somebody is ready earlier than the other. And we must find ways that we make the alignment so good as possible. Yes, and this is why the Swiss are now looking, can we use France a bit more while we wait for the Germans to finish?
And how can you explain that a country like Switzerland is doing so much more in terms of work and time and money than other countries on the Rhine Alpine Corridor?
Well, the Swiss have the Alps and they have to transport, and it was for them a decision, are we constructing huge motorways crossing the Alps? Or are we making another transport policy and we put those trucks on the train? And they have a very strong democratic system with people voting for almost everything. and the people decided that they prefer trains above trucks. And then they start constructing these Trans-Alp routes for trains. But they also put in place a law that it's hard to run trucks through Switzerland because the tonnage is much lowered for transit trucks.
And is this a policy that could simply be copied in other countries, or is it very typical of the region?
I think it is what you want to achieve. Of course, it's a political decision, but what makes it very nice in Switzerland that the people had a choice between, do you want more trucks, that we start building roads, or do you want that we build tunnels and viaducts for trains? And they voted for trains, but then also, let's say, public resistance was much lower because they made a choice up front. They had a choice.
Yeah. You are the director of the management board of the Rhine Alpine Corridor, and the Rhine Alpine Corridor is one of the corridors of the TEN-T network, and actually the most heavily used corridor. And the whole point of the corridor is to streamline these efforts a little bit more. So what can the corridor do to make sure that all these puzzle pieces come together?
First, indeed, what we do as corridor is constantly make pictures of developments and look at missing links, looks at things which is, let's say, missed in a country. I can give a lot of examples, but a funny example was at a certain moment that it was foreseen that the Germans will roll out ERTMS to Venlo in 2027, and it was not even in a Dutch plan. And then you can start, let's say, pinpointing that it's not fitting together. And that also changed in the Dutch government, that they changed their ERTMS program, that now also Venlo is pulled much further to today's situation. And now it will be a split of 1 or 2 years, which is, if you look at a long period, almost at the same moment.
Yeah. Do you as a corridor have this influence to pressure governments to speed up?
Formally, we have to discuss with ministries. In the total construction of rail freight corridors, also ministries have an executive board, and we bring the reports to them, and they are forced to react. And it's the same that we have TEN-T coordinators, and we discuss with them also these missing links, and they also have entrances to ministers. So it's a kind of lobby, but first you have to make the picture.
Yeah. And right now that picture is the Swiss celebrating and the others maybe also celebrating. Do you think it looks like people can actually benefit from what the Swiss government has done, or is it not considered that way?
I think the Swiss people can benefit from this at the moment.
Okay.
And on the longer term, we all can benefit if more trains can run. But very honestly, at this moment, there is a lack of capacity in Germany. It's quite full there. And they are trying to do their utmost best to also run at the existing lines more trains.
Yeah. What is the next big milestone to be reached?
The next big milestone is the Northern Italy upgrade, that there also can trains run with 740 meter, and that they improve the electricity system, so that also trains can be heavier.
Okay.
That's the next, and that is foreseen in the upcoming 2-3 years.
And that is to Milan, or?
Yeah, that is the terminals around Milan, because we always use the word Milan, but talk with with the customers, and the terminals are not in Milan, but they are in a big area around Milan.
Yeah. And are there any more tunnels planned, or was this really the last tunnel?
No, as I said, the Lotsberg tunnel is now partly a single track, and they are making plans to also upgrade this to a fully double track tunnel.
Yeah. Okay. And the Rastad tunnel, everybody knows the Rastad tunnel by now. What's happening there? Is that still moving on?
Yeah, that is exactly, this is in the part which I just mentioned, where they are upgrading from 2 tracks to 4 tracks. And because it's also in heavily dense area, they also use a lot of tunnels, and they are drilled. underground. And this work will continue, but they expect that it will take maximum up to 20 years from now to finish the complete project.
20 years, okay.
But that is also what we have seen as the Dutch people with the third track construction. You also want that the trains keep on running.
Yeah. Okay, well, I would like to thank you for sharing your expertise, and have a good day.
It was a pleasure to be with you, and good luck with the rest of the program.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.